halfway through and almost to the end of our theme for 2023, which is living out loud. We have 21 more days to be really loud in life. Don't know what happens in January if we have to whisper then. We'll see. This theme for December right now is living in wholeness. And our topic for today is recognizing wholeness and seeing the good in all. We have a reading today from Parker Palmer. This is from a message from A Hidden Wholeness. It says, there are in all things a hidden wholeness. I think meaning though, even though we don't know it, our universe is interconnected and complete. We have another reading by Ernest Holmes saying to us, since there is but one spirit, and this spirit is in you and in everything, then everywhere you go, you will meet this spirit. You will meet this spirit in people, and you will meet this spirit in places and in things. Yay. So we will affirm together, but we'll do it really loud. And I'd like to hear that. Are you ready? Are our words up? Okay, as loud as you can. I am one with the divine and my fellow beings. Wow. So I introduce Dr. Reverend Kathleen. Thank you.
Wow, Tisha, this is a whole new side of you, and I'm really enjoying it. That is your real side, okay. Your wholeness shining through, for sure. Wow. Yes, this has been quite a year of living out loud. And wholeness, what a great way to end the entire season. Or the entire year as well. Living out loud and as wholeness. So as we contemplate this thing called wholeness, what does wholeness mean to you? Think about it. And do you have some ideas, Aiden? Go ahead. Full emotion, Very good. I didn't hear the other thing you said, but. And what? Oh, that's all. Okay. It is all, isn't it? So this month, as we contemplate this thing called wholeness, and we usually tie that together with completeness and perfection. I just want to share with you a memory that I have that dates back to December, this time of year, 1989, when I first walked into a center. Actually, at that time it was called the Church of Religious Science, Wilmington Church of Religious Science, which is now Centers for Spiritual Living, because we realized that people were getting confused and thinking that we were Scientology when we're not. So we decided to change to Centers for Spiritual Living. But the point of it is that I walked into this place. I had been invited by Sally Orr, who was the very first licensed practitioner in the state of Delaware back then. And I was actually driving on my way to the church that I normally went to, and I remembered Sally inviting me, and so I just turned around and I went the other direction and showed up, and they were holding it at the they called the Sheridan. It's now the DoubleTree up on Concord Pike. And I walked in, a beautiful group of people like this. I have a feeling, let me just see what's going on here. I think I'll take this off. Yeah, it's really making a lot of racket. Okay, let's see if that works. Um, so anyway, I remember walking in, sitting down, and then they were interviewing a new minister, Reverend Gail Katzman, at the time, and she had come from Colorado, and was ready to move out here, and she gave this talk that was about this very topic, about the wholeness, the completeness, and the perfection of the divine, and then she had us say out loud, "I am whole, perfect, and complete." And I remember, and I'm feeling it now, the God bumps, the chills, the energy flowing through me. It was like a whole body, yes, I am in the right place. I have my people and my teaching. Yeah, I guess I guess maybe this is me that's creating all this. I'm electric. Boogie, 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 woogie, woogie, or whatever it is. So God bumps, energy, a full body. Yes, I'm where I'm supposed to be, and I think about how we are guided in those ways so often, and how that guidance that takes us to the place that really feeds us, our soul, and opens our hearts and helps to move us along on our evolutionary path, how important that is to listen. I don't know how many of you are here today because of divine guidance, but that's how it works. That's how it works. I didn't even move that time. Today is dedicated to recognizing wholeness, seeing the God or the good in all. And so seeing the God, the good in all, seeing that wholeness in all, recognizing that wholeness in all, that's like the essence of our teaching. And because think about that. If everybody could do that all over the world, what would happen? If we could see the wholeness, the beauty, the grace, the glory of the divine in everyone, what would happen? All the things that we've been praying about. Yeah, all of those things. So today I'd like to deepen and explore this idea of seeing or recognizing wholeness, seeing the good in all in three different ways. The first one is contributing to the whole, releasing separateness, and being the friend you wish to see. So contributing to the whole. So we often say here that all individuals, all events, all collectives, groups, all relationships are interconnected and interdependent. It was said several times today already. And so each one of us, though, and this is the thing that is mind-blowing to think about. Each one of us, all 8 billion people on the planet, are unique individualizations of this one presence. It's mind-blowing when you think about it. Each one whole in and of themselves. It doesn't matter what the appearance is or what they're doing, what their behavior is. There is a wholeness living within each one. And each one of us contribute to the fabric of life. And all of it is divinely designed to move us on the path of conscious evolution, to wake up to our wholeness, to wake up to who we are in truth, to be greater expressions of peace, joy, and love. And when I think about that, because sometimes we look at things and you're like, what is going on here and what is going on there? And yet it all is these things that are challenges, are evolutionary drivers. I got that from Barbara Marx Hubbard some years ago when she talked about, why the contrast that we have on the planet. And so I I love to think of it as an evolutionary driver. It's something that calls us to a higher place in consciousness. Otherwise, we have this bland, so the contrast is part of the design to move us along. And when I think about that, it's contributing to the whole from our wholeness, and all of these people co-creating this whole entire planetary experience together, my mind is blown. When I really think about how the whole thing is orchestrated, it's mind-blowing. And it's also, there's something magical about it, mystical, and also nourishing when I realize that it's all for me. It's all for each one of us. Life is here supporting the evolution of consciousness of each one of us. So I'd like to illustrate with a story. One day, a mysterious stranger walked into a small village with a stone in his hand. And he said, "This stone makes magical soup, wholesome soup, each and every time." The villagers look at him like he's crazy, and they're rolling their eyes and looking at each other. And then somebody finally shouts out, "Well, then prove it." And he said, "Okay, I'll need somebody to bring some firewood. We'll just do it right here in the square. And then somebody bring a great big huge pot of water." So they get the fire going, they put the pot on, he throws the stone in, the water starts boiling, and he goes, it might be nice to add some spices. So somebody goes and gets actually several of them go and get different kinds of spices and throw it in, and it's boiling. It continues to boil. He goes, maybe we could add some carrots and potatoes, maybe some celery, any kind of vegetables that you might have. So the people go and get whatever vegetables they have, and they throw it in the pot, and it continues to boil. And then the stranger says, "Well, maybe adding some sort of protein." I'm going to say protein for those of you who aren't into meat, okay? Some protein. You can decide what the protein is. How about some protein and some flour? And so people run and they get the protein, they get the flour, they get any other things they can think of, and they throw it in, and it continues to boil. And the aroma is just wonderful. And so he invites them all to sit down and enjoy the soup together. And as they taste it, they proclaim that this is the most wonderful, wholesome, delicious, nutritious soup they have ever had in their entire lives. And they feast and they celebrate this wonderful thing called magical stone soup. Magical stone soup. I love that story. I love that story because it reminds me of how community works, how our world works, how our community works. And the idea that we are not alone, and when we all contribute something to the whole, how it just creates this amazing, delicious, nutritious experience. And so as we contemplate that, let's think about what happened last week. Actually, what happens here every Sunday, but we'll focus on what happened last week. So last week, we had our potluck, as you heard, and our promise auction. So people they contributed donations to the promise auction. We had something like, I think, almost 80 items that were spread all around here that people could bid on, everything from items to services, and so it was just it was joy to watch, and there was a lot of banter and playfulness that was contributed to people bantering and trying to outbid each other and so on. A lot of fun. And then there were the people who made the bids and who paid for the items, those kinds of contributions. And then there was the sweat equity, the people who came the day before to set up and to decorate. And the cleanup crew, right? Right, Monica? Monica's back there smiling. And the cleanup crew. And, everybody contributing in the way that they felt called to contribute. And together we created a magnificent feast. Oh my gosh, the food. When this community does potlucks, it's healthy because we have people who are vegans, gluten-free, vegetarians, and so on in this community. So it's like this beautiful, colorful buffet of food that was right over there, and something that we create together. It's a miracle, and it's amazing how people just bring the right things, so we have the right balance of food items and so on. A delicious, nutritious feast for the body temple, but also for the mind and the spirit. And that's what we do as community here, as each person contributes their particular gifts and talents. It could be love, it could be wisdom, it could be joy, laughter, humor, creativity, beauty. Beauty is a quality of God. All we have to do is look at our beautiful planet. And, all of these different things that we contribute that feed and nourish us on all levels simply by being together. So that's contributing to the whole from our wholeness. The next one is releasing ideas of separateness. I love this quote by Ram Dass. He said, "The evolution of the soul is about decreasing separateness, shedding attachments that distract us from oneness." Shedding attachments that distract us from oneness. Oneness is already present. Oneness is a central teaching of Science of Mind and Spirit. So we not only teach these principles of oneness and wholeness, but we encourage a direct experience of oneness and wholeness through spiritual practices, through mindfulness as we move through our day. Direct experience of this oneness, this idea of everything is this one presence, this wholeness. So reflect for a moment on experiences of oneness or wholeness that you've had. And then I'd like you to just call them out. Meditation. Riding horses. Childbirth experience, yeah. That's a tearjerker, isn't it? Making music. Being in nature. Yes, Aiden. Making food. Yes. Anybody else? Carla? Writing. Awesome. Walking hand in hand with Marianne. A beautiful example of wholeness and oneness. Lovely. Nature. Looking in the face of a friend. Yeah. The face of God. Art. Service. Being in service. Beautiful example of oneness. I feel oneness every time we gather as community. It's whether we're having conversations or singing together or whatever it is. Anybody else? There's so many ways of experiencing oneness. What? Go ahead. Yes. Okay, go ahead, Ariana. School and school. Wow, yes. I'm all with you. I'm totally with you on that one. I love studying. I do. Okay, so releasing separateness, releasing the ideas of separateness so that we can have that direct experience of oneness, all that stuff that distracts us. That stuff that distracts us can actually be summarized in just a couple words. It's called mind chatter. That's the only thing that gets in the way, right? It's all that that goes on in the mind that's telling us something's wrong, I'm not enough, whatever that stuff is that we tell ourselves. Or that person is blah, 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 or whatever it is. Those things distract us from the oneness and the wholeness experience. So as we shed those attachments to things that distract us, we have an opportunity to experience more and more of this thing called oneness. And then something magic happens. Something magic happens. And, often the thing to help us shift is the breath. As we take a breath, let it go, let the mind chatter go, come into the present moment, then we make ourselves available for a different experience, a powerful experience. We have an opportunity to see the beauty, the face of God in everything and everyone. I'd like you to do this little experiment with me. This is another method of expanding awareness. And if you've ever seen the little video clip called "The Power of 10," has anybody seen that? It's mind blowing. It's really awesome. But we'll do just a short version of it. So let's breathe and stretch. Oh, yes, yes, yes. And now become aware of the body temple that you live in. Just become aware of that. And then let's expand awareness to encircle this room. And then continue to expand it to encircle the building and on out to the entire northern state of Delaware. Let's just take in the whole state of Delaware. And the United States. And then even further, continue going beyond that, the continent and the entire planet. And let's not stop there. Let's expand our awareness of the solar system, the galaxy, and then the entire universe that's ever expanding with so many galaxies we can't even count them. And take a breath and let's come right back into the body. And now we're going to go the other direction. So let's become aware of in the body temple the organs. Maybe just focus on one particular organ, maybe your heart. And going deeper, molecules, and then cells. By the way, there are 7 octillion atoms in the cells of our body. That's a 7 with 27 zeros. A 7 with number of atoms in the body. So all of these atoms now, so we're diving into the quantum reality. Deep into the quantum reality, that field from which everything arises. We call it the unified field of energy. Everything arising from that. And then be aware that we are that presence that molds all of that energy into this body and into this experience and this expression and into any creations that we that we make along the way. So who are we then? If we're these beings that bring form and experience out of this soup of the unified field of all possibility and all potentiality, who are we? Who are we? We are pure spirit. And when in Ernest Holmes talks about there is one mind, and we are individualizations of that mind. We're actually points of consciousness in that one mind. We use that one mind. We have the entire power of the universe is at our hands. That is how we can practice standing in who we are. That's how we can practice remembering our wholeness and the amazing abilities that we have to not only change our lives, to make a difference for the whole, since we're all interconnected. And then, from that vantage point, when we look around the room or encounter anyone, we realize it's a whole, holy encounter. Encounter of wholeness. It's holy. It's a wholeness encounter. Take a moment and just turn to someone and just glance in their eyes if you're willing. Wholeness, holy encounter. And so our final one is being the friend you wish to see. We all love, I'm just assuming this. Anyway, I love the Gandhi's statement, be the change you wish to see. And this is a statement of the law of reciprocity. As you give, you receive. You know, it's if you be who you want to experience, and so on. And so we can apply that to friendship. Be the friend, the love, the compassion, the listener that you wish to see. If you want a friend who is interested in you, you show interest in them, right? And one of the things that I learned some time ago, I think I learned this in the Masters in Counseling program that I was part of years ago, but we talked about healthy communication and what that looks like. And so the professor gave us a ball, and we just threw the ball back and forth between each person. So, and then we talked about what that meant. Okay, so one person talks, the other person listens. The other person talks, then the next person listens. It's not like one person holding the ball the whole time, right? Like I'm just going to hold the ball. I'm going to talk, and you are to listen, listen, listen. No, it's an exchange that goes back and forth for healthy conversation, healthy friendship, healthy relationship. So befriending our fellow humans then is a great opportunity to see the goodness and the wholeness in each person. I'd like to end with a story. This is a true story of a woman by the name of Casey McIntyre. Her life being a beautiful demonstration of ultimate friendship, being a benevolent presence. Isn't that what it is ultimately anyway? So Casey was a wife and a mother, and she was in the last stages of cancer. Not too long before it was her time to move on. And so she and her husband got together and made a decision. And this decision was really based on her experience of meeting other cancer patients, befriending them, and finding out the incredible financial debt, the burden that they were facing because they didn't have adequate insurance. She, on the other hand, because she was a publisher with Penguin Random House, had excellent medical coverage, and she knew what a relief that was for her and her family that she had that. So she wanted to do something about it, and they found out about this organization called Rest in Peace Medical Debt. Anybody hear about that before? This was new to me. Anyway, this particular nonprofit organization takes donations, and so Gregory, her husband, and Casey orchestrated this called Debt Jubilee in her honor, and set up a fund through this Rest in Peace medical debt organization. And what they do is they buy up medical debt. And because they have the skill, they can relieve $100 of debt for every dollar, 100-to-1 ratio. Isn't that amazing? I know, it's amazing. And so then what happened is they raised $700,000 through this fund. Think about that, times 100, that translates to relieving $70 million in medical debt relief for Americans all over the country. Wow. The ultimate of friendship, being a benevolent presence, and realizing that she was moving on, but she was leaving a legacy, and her heart was open, so in truth her wholeness was shining through no matter what the body was doing. The wholeness was present, the love was present. So when infinite presence, think about this, thought us up, thought us into being, created us out of its own image and likeness, instilled within us, therefore, this thing called wholeness and perfection, energy, beauty, creative abilities and talents, love, out of its own essence, out of its own cosmic heart. And then we are here free, we have free choice to use those gifts and talents in any way imaginable. And as we contemplate this wholeness and all that it means, we're able to see the wholeness, the good in everyone and everything, despite the appearances. And so we see the beauty, the strength, the glory, the magnificence of God everywhere and everyone, and it transforms our lives. So let's close our eyes and go within, and I'm just going to say, I am so grateful for this awakening and this awareness of oneness and wholeness, and our time together contemplating what this means for each one of us. I know each one of us takes this awakened awareness with us as we move throughout our week, throughout our lives, transformed, seeing things differently, taking the higher perspective, and I know always and ever, because we're interconnected, making a profound difference wherever we go. I'm so grateful. I release this word to the action of universal law, and I invite us to accept this truth with a powerful yes! And so it is. Thank you. Sharon.